I think things have changed dramatically in the last 15 years with regards to men approaching women now. Like, men don't really approach women anymore, and because they're scared to death of doing it. And I've seen this firsthand at like many a bar where, especially anyone between 18 and 25 is like, you just see the fear in their eyes, and also not even just fear. There's like this now invisible rule which is like, you don't approach women. That right there is fundamentally wrong. Like, it seems like that's, and then I was like, what is going on? And they're like, oh, these kids are like, they're just literally talking to girls through an app. That's literally how it's done now. Like,
I don't think that's all there is to it. I think there's a lot of reasons that underpin that. For example, a lot of men are scared because they don't want to get Me Too'd. That's a big thing in society now. I don't think approaching women is actually that deep. And the reason why I say that is, and I saw a statistic that said something along the lines of 60% of 18 to 25-year-old males haven't approached a woman in the last year. I think that's shocking. Painful. Especially when it's not that hard. But we also know, as is, and I hope this actually isn't even a controversial take, but we have seen proof of it. Some of the toxic ends of the internet do spout it, but it is actually true though, is that the difference between creepy and acceptable is how attractive she finds you. You think if Brad Pitt walked up to her to say hi, she's going to be like, ooh, creepy? No. So I think part of it is, have you actually done your homework to be as appealing as you can possibly be by the time you go to her? Because the same stuff that you can go and say that will be deemed inappropriate, if she finds me very attractive, I can say the same thing and walk away with better results. I think the difference isn't necessarily what was said, but how attractive she finds the person.
so are men less equipped then right now than they were before?
They absolutely are. And I think part of that is internet stuff. Part of that is in fact internet stuff. And by that what I mean is the emergence of apps. All of that is completely cool. However, even within that framework, men are now less robust at going up to women and having a conversation face to face, because in the state of internet bravery, you can say whatever and be bold and seemingly confident. If you send me the text and I don't know who you are, can you hold that same energy and have that same masculine frame face to face though? That's where the difference is. So men are less equipped, unfortunately.
And like I've just seen so much of it, and I also think the app game itself is really distorted. Someone was showing me, some guy that I know, was showing me the app. Was it like
which one?
He was showing me Bumble, his profile picture, and he just, the way he was explaining to me every detail of what you're supposed to put up now, the expectation was like, oh, like, this picture represents this, and this picture represents that, and I don't just post a picture of myself looking good, because that doesn't tell anything about myself. I'm like, what is, since when, like, why do you have to do so much? Can't you just like, I don't know, why is it that's the only way now?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I fundamentally don't agree with that as a way that people should be dating or trying to find.
At the end of the day, look, I don't believe in. Listen, I said this to a woman recently. She was complaining about narcissistic men in the dating marketplace, and I remember saying, if you get robbed, you got two options. You can either bitch about how evil the robber is, or you can tighten up your security. What's going to benefit you the most? What's going to benefit you the most is tightening up your security. And in my head, it doesn't mean there's no room to talk about what was wrong, but I see it as this: if this is where the world is going, we can either cry about it or we can adapt and go to war. And the natural tendency of men is to take the details that's changing in the society, adapt, and win anyway. So the reality is, yeah, okay, it turns out that on apps, one profile picture might say, this is me in my everyday scenario. This picture is me with a dog or a cat because it's meant to generate the aww. This picture is me with my top off because it's meant to give you sex appeal. Okay, if that's what's working, adapt and win. you know what I mean? That's how I see it. It gets very simple. Feel free to walk through there.
There's a few men that are doing it. I don't know where. I don't know the exact statistic on this, so I'm not gonna quote it. But it's somewhere along the lines of like 5 or 10% of men, like a really low percentage. Let's just say 5% or 10% of men are the ones that are actually winning on all of these apps.
So apparently women swipe right about 20% of the time. Think about that. 20% of the time. So if you actually break the statistics down, I say this to you, when I first went on dating apps and I did the baptism of fire, where I was on a date nearly every day, one of the things that it taught me, and I said this to my friend Jess, she was like, did you not find somebody that was girlfriend material? Because that's a lot of people to go on a date with. Was nobody in that dating period girlfriend material to where you wanted to settle down? And I said, I can honestly say I came across at least 10 that were. But I didn't give a damn. Why? Because there was everybody available. It ended up, that period, that month and a half period, ended up being 45 people total. Now, who cares about... I remember thinking to myself, when you have it like this, why would any man want to be single? Why would any man want to be in a relationship? You got 40... You went on a date, but there's no way. It's 1 + 1, and we know the male imperative has always favored variety, right? So if you think about it like this, women swipe right 20% of the time. That by default-ish, I think that amount of time. By default, that means nearly over 80%-ish of men are unattractive to women. So that means that 20%-ish people who get right swiped all the time have access to nearly 100% of all women. Why would those men then settle down? They have to be ready to settle down to make that move, because if they have variety to enjoy everybody, why wouldn't they? It's 1 + 1.
But what does that do to men's psyche though? That's another hit on men. I think in general is that they feel they're not worthy enough, so they have to do all these tricks online in order just to gain a date or to get a woman's interest. Like, I think that isn't right in itself, no?
But we can't do anything about it in a way that is fundamentally positive. And the reason why is that, like I say, we can either cry about the times or we can adapt and win. Is, as men, if we're looking at that as, oh, this is a problem, that's not right. So what, you want to stay single and watch a bunch of corn and beat your meat all day? Or you're going to do what you have to do to win? Because guess what, bro? The reality, the bottom line is these women don't care about the fact that you're upset about it. They're still going to pick who they want to pick. You could be upset about the fact that they only swipe 20% of the time. It's not changing the fact that that's the only times they are swiping. Mm-hmm. So you can either join the 20% or you can cry. Which one do you prefer? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I see it as, well, do what it takes to be among the people that are winning. Come through. Yeah. You feel me?
Yeah. And your King's take on this is you're providing information on your TikTok and your Instagram, and you're trying to put out information that you think is going to help. It's going to be useful help men and women.
One of the things I put up there, I made a writing post called "Shoot Your Shot," which is basically just be unapologetic. Don't fear her rejection. Her rejection doesn't mean anything is wrong with you. If you presented me with apples and grapes, and you went, pick one, and I chose the apples, does that mean something's wrong with grapes?
Grapes might be off.
Grapes are not less valid a fruit just because I want apples. So you move to a chick, she ain't like you. That don't mean anything is wrong with you. Mm-hmm. Let her go for the apples. That's cool. Go for the people that like grapes. Don't trip on it. Or if you want to redesign yourself as an apple, do that. At the end of the day, I believe win. Because I think that's just what men come down to. We adapt to our society and we win. In caveman days, there were saber-toothed tigers and all these, named these things that were dangerous to men. Men didn't sit there crying about it. I mean, they cried when a few people died from those creatures, but then they thought, cool, we need to make machetes, we need to make axes, we need to make swords to win. Then we started to win. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the nature of the male is to look at the terrain, absorb the information, take in the data, adapt, and find a way to win anyway. That's what I believe in.
Okay, so the man's jumped through all the hoops. He's done all the right pictures on the app.
Right.
Said all the right things in text. And now he's got the date. Now what?
Run it in a way that leads to the outcome that you want.
But we're talking about a guy that is doing it in the new way, right? Which is basically, you're trying to win at being the best version of yourself on an app, then you also have to eventually you have to become you have to get to real life, and then you have to be the best version of yourself in real life too. So I feel like that's a major part you might be missing.
That's not what it is. Is that you have to if you go to a job interview, you're trying to present your best self that will allow you to get the job. Once you've got the job, you can show them everything else that has already been in the makeup of your personality. But get the fucking job first. Do you get what I'm saying? So one can sit there and cry about the possibility, and this, when I talk to men about it, I get down to the bottom line of it. We can ultimately bitch about it and moan about what women are asking for. At the end of the day, the thing that will get the door open so you can show who you are and win her attention and affections anyway, get the job first. Get the date first.
Yeah.
Once you're there and you've made the right impression and she likes you and something great is happening, show her everything else that's been in the crevice of your personality. That's what you do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But in the meantime, get the fucking date first. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I believe in. It's in my head, it's very simple. I don't mean to deduce it in a way that takes out compassion, but it's actually quite simple to me.
So clear up the misconceptions, if you can, for me, King. Are women really looking for a man with 6 figures and has to be above 6'3", and he? I don't know. Is this really?
Oh yeah, I've heard it. A man with a devil swag. So 6 feet tall, 6-figure income, 6-inch sausage at least. It's bollocks.
Is it? You think it's bollocks?
It's bollocks. Be in that category and go to a bar and watch a loser get the girl you wanted, and you realize none of it mattered. In a world where women make their own money, do you think your money matters to women?
It's true. Yeah.
The idea of men need to provide and protect. Well, she makes her own money now. She don't need you to provide. Now what? The reality is, if she doesn't need you to provide because she makes her own money and she can now buy protection, so she doesn't need you to protect her anymore, what's a man's duties left? Now you actually have to be as attractive as she possibly needs you to be for you to actually get a shot. Because now the reasons why they needed to be with us are different now. Half the things that men used to bring to the table, women do that by themselves now. So now you actually have to be attractive enough to her for her to even want to entertain what you've got to say. It's not about your money. Those things don't actually, they help, don't get me wrong. But you have to understand, women have a pluralistic mating strategy. On one hand, they're looking for good genes. Science proves this. On one hand, they're looking for good genes. Everything that shows that you're going to be a robust individual to mate with. So are you tall? Are you muscular? Do you look like the bedroom fun is going to be good? Are you charming? All of those. Are you popular? Are you charismatic? All of those things. That's good genetics. The other side of it is parental investment. So do you have a good job? Do you look like you're going places? Do you look like you're the kind of, are you kind, are you caring? Do you look like you're the kind of person who will help me raise a baby if I was to get pregnant? That's what's happening in her monkey brain, right? And if you look in the peak fertility years in the 20s, who are women going for? Mr. Good Genetics, right? Because they're not thinking about futures. And usually when they gets into the 30s, they start looking for men who are more robust for long term. They start looking at this side. I think the ideal thing for a man is to be both. You want to be the guy she wants to be in a long-term relationship with, but you also want to be the guy that she would rip her clothes off for on a one-night stand very, very quickly. Be both.
It's easier to say that than it is actually to execute that, though. No,
I don't find it so.
Because is it something you can really learn though to be? You know, like be
absolutely.
As a man, like
how do you present the right sex appeal? Go to the gym and build the body. You can't fake genuine desire. That the part of it that where she has to look at you and think yum. You can't fake that. Do you know what I mean? You either have it or you need to build it. So you go to the gym and you get the sex appeal sorted. You find a purpose or a reason to be alive or a career path that you want to grow in that can hopefully bring in an income or several incomes that can get you to a place where you're robust and financially independent and hopefully free. You tick off that bit as well. So that's the provider bit, kind of the provider / teammate bit sorted. The sexy mofo bit is also sorted. That's two very, very simple things. I don't think it's that hard to execute. Now obviously some things take time, so easier said than done. However, yeah.
There's a lot of men out there that might be struggling with, I don't know, doing 40 hours a week, can't get to the gym, and to try and make space for their dating life is also a bit hard. So And what do you recommend for guys like this in this position, which is kind of a lot of men, really?
Optimize for abundance. Optimize for abundance. You want to put yourself in a position where you can attract as many people as possible, so you have choice. In the same way, when you're busy going to the gym, you're busy working, those things by default actually put you in a position where when you don't have that much time for dating, you're actually more appealing. You don't have the time to chase her. That in itself makes your value more in her eyes, subconsciously. Do you know what I mean? So ultimately, cut your coat according to your size is what I'd say. If you only have the space for one woman, entertain that. If you have the space where you can run a rotation, entertain that. Do what helps, whatever makes your life easier, depending on the time you have. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard from another source, I won't say which one, but they said that you have to reach about, like a man has to get with about 30 women, minimum, before he can kind of get onto the next level of settling down. 30 women.
Is this a podcast?
I ain't gonna say what I heard it, but
Right.
this is one of the things. This is one of the things that I'm floating about.
I don't think that's true.
Okay.
I don't think that's true. One of the things, it's like I was saying a little bit earlier on. If you practice you get good at what you practice. So if you practice frivolous sleeping around, you can't think that monogamy is going to be very, very easy for you. You're in for a very rude awakening. If you haven't been practicing it, you'd find it harder to do by default, even though some people are able to make the transition quite easily and seamlessly. But it's not that simple, the reality. So, and also, most people's lifetime body count never even gets towards 30. Many women get the luxury of that because they hold the keys to it. Men hold the keys to the title, right? So you can have a woman whose body count is there because that's easy. A woman can walk out of a club and say, "Who won it?" There'd be a queue.
Yeah.
A man can look like Brad Pitt, walk out and say, "Who won it?" And they'd still look at him like he's a creep, even though some people will be available.
It's wild how many times I've been at a club and
yeah,
you know, I've seen like really, no homo, it's like there's like a really good looking guy just chilling, and you're like he's just chilling there and getting no attention for no women, and you just like, it's times like that where I think to myself, oh wait, maybe there is something in this whole pickup stuff and how to
have some
game, as it were. Yeah. Because if men like you say are looking like Brad Pitt and suffering, going to a club and basically feeling invisible, and struggling to have a conversation, struggling to even get noticed. Like, well, the guy, like you say, you consider him as a loser, and he's got women, like he's talking to women, he's playing games, all this stuff, and having fun.
But this is what I was saying. The things that men used to bring to the table that made them robust, whether for long term or short term, are different now. So it's not your money that counts. It's not your clout that counts. You can have the BMW that she wants, but I can guarantee you, if I walk in there, she looks at me and thinks yummy, I will get her. Men do need to learn game. So it's like you hear it said all the time. It's like the idea of like money, muscles, frame, game.
Oh, is it? Because that's the phrase. I never heard
Work on your career and your purpose so that you start to get self-sufficient. Then work on your body so you generate a lean athletic physique that is universally appealing. Money, muscles, game, learn actually how to be charismatic, understand female nature, the dark and the light sides of it, the flattering and the unflattering. Frame, learn how to lead the process like a man. Money, muscles, game, frame. If then them four things are covered in general, you'd realize that the tools in your arsenal are vast. So whatever works. And every woman is different too. So this is the reason why as a man you need to constantly be working on yourself to be as well-rounded as you can do. Some women do value money and won't give you the time of day unless you look like you're covered in money. And some women value looks. You can have all the money in the world, but if you're butters, you get no play. Women value different things, and depending on what she values the most, the guy who is winning in that department is who's going to have the easiest access. Now if you come in and you bring all of it, the girl that likes money is going to give you attention because you have what she values. If you're good looking, the girl who values looks, you have what she values. If it's what do you call it? If it's money, if it's looks, if it's height, if it's game, the guy who has the gift of the gab, you got that too. the more tools there are in your arsenal, the more you can look at the marketplace and be like, what problem do I need to solve? What tool do I need? It's like a plumber. If a plumber comes to your house, they don't come in there and immediately go, let me throw everything at it. They come with the toolbox, they drop it, they look at the problem. What does this need? What can I pick from here that's going to get me to do the job as quickly and as easily as possible? Let me take them tools out. It's the same thing. You walk into a space, it's bare gal. Cool, and you're looking at the way they're moving. What do they need? What do I need right now? I need my swag, I need my gift of the gab, I need my looks. Cool, I'll give you that. Then once I get it and you get to know me and you realize everything else that there is in the canon, now we have something that we can build on. But before that, I do need to get my way in. So whatever I need to get in, I'll do that.
There's so many men out there, I think for the longest time, have concentrated on building their money. That's what they're told, that their dads have told them or something like, you son, you can try and chase girls, but the money, you have to concentrate on getting a job, get a good job, but then the girls will come. This is what a lot of guys have been following for the longest time.
You're right, but if you don't also get the other elements, you then become a simp with money. There are men with money that are corny, right? And there's men with no money who get all the girls. So clearly, it's not the money that makes the difference.
There are guys in prison who are getting girls.
Make that make sense.
That one just like, that one gets me, man.
I think the advice the fathers are giving is true, though. There is some element to it. They say a man will never lose women by chasing money, but he will always lose money if he's chasing women. That is absolutely true. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Makes right.
Yeah.
If he's chasing money, he will never lose women because he will always be able to attract by having resources. But he will always lose money if he's chasing women because you have to spend to some degree.
Yeah.
Whether you're taking her out, whether it's a cheap pub or whether it's a high-end restaurant, you're spending something. Even if you're inviting her to your house, you're still buying the groceries or whatever that the snacks you're gonna feed her after getting to the cheeks. So the reality is you're spending in some way, shape, or form.
That's providing in a certain way, isn't it? You're basically being the provider.
But that's baked into our masculinity. We have to provide in some way. So yeah, however small.
Yeah,
because that stuff speaks to her monkey brain. So
yeah, I've been so involved in secretly in a way with all the evolution of game, as it were. Like, and it's fascinating to see how, like, the progression and where it's gone to from 15 years back. Like, it used to be a very, very toxic thing, I think, game in itself. And it was led by nerds underground trying to come up with quick lines and basically manipulate women in a certain way. Now what you got is you've got men with cameras secretly in their glasses, and they're going out and they're trying to approach women, and they're trying to give you ideas of like being confident, and this is how you get women, and then they sell a course as a result of that. So I think with your take, it seems like a bit more of a healthy input in this whole.
How I define it on Mr. King's Takes is my common sense takes on dating, self-improvement, and trending topics. Common sense. It's kind of how I see it. But then we live and we learn. We realize common sense ain't that common, right? So yeah. Common. I think in this day and age, especially. I'm about to post a piece of content with one of my receipts from Tinder, and what I'm trying to of a conversation I had with a girl towards a date. And what I'm trying to highlight is that when a woman is attracted to you, you don't need riz. You don't even need talking phases and all of that bollocks. Just ask her out.
You make that sound easy though, but in real life, there's a lot of guys.
A lady said something to me really interestingly. She said, some of the advice that you might give men might be simple and might be practical, but those men have to tick the boxes that you already tick. So for example, they have to be as attractive as you or more for that to work. Because if you're some ugly guy and you ain't got those fundamentals already in place, then it don't matter what the advice is. You can go do it and it don't work. Because those fundamentals aren't already ticked.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I kind of think, there is some element of that in the mix, if that makes sense.
So do you think that, is it like some men can't be helped in a way, or
everybody can be helped to maximize what God has given them?
Right.
That's what I believe in, maximizing what God gave you and being so celebratory of it that listen, okay, let's go there and be authentic. when I started doing whole phases, I wanted to make sure I work out what my taste is. What do I like in women? So I dated everything there is out there. I dated super skinny, super short, super tall, taller than me, gym girl bod, average physique on a woman, slightly bigger bone, and I dated what you would categorize as fat. I wanted to figure that out for myself. What were the things that made, for example, for argument's sake, a fat woman, who some people would say, oh, they don't like that because of the body, and I'm not here to fat shame, but people may not like that. For example, what made that sexy to me? You'd find that it's if you've ever anybody who can validate that they fancied a fat chick before, you'd realize it's the energy. It's what, if a person has no problems with how they're built, and they celebrate it, and they own it, and they walk with confidence in it, and they don't mind if you don't like it, you would be very shocked how attractive they become. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the same thing
For men.
like for men.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're 5'7".
Right.
Walk like you're 6'6". You've heard of like BDE,
No.
big dick energy,
Oh, okay.
right?
Oh, actually, I ain't heard about that.
Right, let's keep it real. Not every men are not built the same. Not every man has a big phallus, but some men walk like they do,
Yeah.
and that's appealing.
Right.
Having the confidence to go up to somebody that most people are afraid to go up to, that's big dick energy. So it's the energy, it's your soul, it's your aura. That's what's really doing the homework for you.
So if you're a super nerd and you're a bit very introverted, like also what that guy can win as well.
Absolutely. Now you can either seek alignment or you can self-improve to get the other qualities that make your job easier on a universal scale. Right. So for example, let's talk about the category of looks. There are ways to be objective about quantifying beauty, right? But at the same time, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's subjective. However, I can guarantee that even a woman who only likes white boys can acknowledge when a black guy is handsome. Because handsome is objective, right? So I might not be your type, but if I make sure I look after me and I am objectively handsome, even when I'm not your type, you can't lie about the fact that you think I'm hot. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's what I mean.
There have been times when I've been around girls and like obviously I'll be on the side where I'm like the platonic friend, but like
right,
they might say something about some guy just around, like I don't know, we'll be in a club or anywhere. And they'll be like, I look at the guy, I'm thinking, that guy doesn't tick any of the boxes that I would usually think that is going to make them attractive. The guy's he's not well built, he's not tall particularly, he hasn't got like charisma as you would call it. I'm like, so it falls outside of all of the boxes that you just said.
That's the beauty of humanity. And I think, in my opinion, in those moments, what's making the difference is that guy don't give a fuck.
Or he doesn't even know. Oftentimes they have no idea. They're just being themselves, just casually being themselves.
But in being themselves, they don't care if they're rejected or not. So when they move to the chick, they don't think, can I get her? Is she going to find somebody like me attractive? They just move.
I don't think those guys even move. I'll be honest. I don't think those guys literally even approach women. I think those types of guys, they're just chilling and they either fall into a conversation naturally, like person next to them, or they're they're messaging through Insta or something.
But that is the beauty of exactly what the pickup nerds did. The pickup nerds were watching men who somehow it was accidentally happening for, and they broke it down into a formula. Oh, so in the moments when it seems like it happened by accident, he was actually making her laugh here.
Right.
So in this moment, in that conversation, he was telling her a story that makes him look good. So let's give it a name. He was demonstrating high value. Oh, in this moment, he gave her a compliment, but it wasn't really a compliment. It was backhanded. Let's call it a name. Negging. That's how it happened. They were watching these accidents play out, and they broke it down into a formula. So then
they intellectualized it.
Precisely. And then they started to replicate it. So then they would go on a date with a girl, and they'll tell her a story. Oh yeah, so my little brother, got into a fight, and he got into a fight, and I just stepped in, and I looked at the other guy, and I was just like, listen, I know what he done was wrong and you deserve to beat him up right now, but that's my bro. So if you beat him up, you'll have me to answer to. Do you know what I mean? And I don't care if I die today because you look like you could beat me up, but that's my bro. I'll die if that's what it takes. And the girl's listening to that going, he'll die for his bro. Oh my god, I love this guy. Demonstration of higher value, for example, right? Or a girl says, what's your name? He says, what's your name? She says, my name is Keisha. And he goes, oh cool, I know about 4 Keishas. Let's see if you're special. That's a neg, if you will, because in that moment you've made her think he knows 4 Keishas. How am I going to stand out in his phone? What am I going to do to impress this guy? Now you flip the script in a way where society says men need to impress her, and now here's a guy that's framed it in a way where she has to impress him. She don't know why it's psychologically working on her, but these nerds were basically watching the accidents happening and intellectualizing it and developing it into a formula that they could go replicate. Does that make sense? Which is what I say. That's the fundamental nature of men. We look at what the market is telling us, we gather the data, we adapt, and we find a way to win anyway. I just don't believe you should be fake with it, but I think find a way to win. So yeah.
It's funny the parallels between this and because I've known you since drama when I was doing an acting course.
Yeah, I was doing advertising
at university, and you were doing advertising. But your obsession and with acting was always prominent. I always knew you were into acting, and your approach to acting is very much the same as this. It's this kind of this very intellectual way of looking or breaking down the system.
Back then it was,
of acting, but your way you approach women and the dating scenes, it seems like it's actually you're breaking down the system once again. Is this just the way of how you do things? Maybe there isn't so much, because it's the way I looked at stuff when you used to talk about acting was I was always very free with it, and what happens will happen. You know, you be in the moment, all that kind of stuff. Whereas your one was very, nope, we need to learn this, and this, Stanislavski, this, Lambda, Rada, this, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, like, is your approach maybe a bit like methodical because and you think it works because that's the way you look at things?
I think, because I believe you should lean into what's natural for you. The beauty of humanity is we're always looking for an answer. Why does this work the way it does? The more curious you become about anything, the more you realize that you can actually figure out the hacks within it, right? And when you apply the hacks to yourself, does it lead to results? If it does, you're doing something right, right? For example, with things like acting, at the end of the day, you got to be free with it, but we don't live our lives on stage in performances just improvising unless you went to an improv show. There are still lines, there are still cues, lighting cues, sound cues. This is when you come on stage, this is when you go off stage, this is when that explosion happens. There are all these cues, and we rehearse it to death so we can go on stage and pretend like we haven't. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So I kind of see that life is kind of the same. And if you also even look at video games, RPG video games, or build your own player video games, or adventure games, where you take a character at rock bottom, he has nothing, and then you slowly build him up. You get skills. You got 10 XP. Now he's slightly taller. You know, you got that shield. Now he's got the shield. You got that sword. Now he's got the sword. And you're literally adding all these tools to him. And at some point in the game, he is the ultimate warrior. Your life is the same. Your life is a video game. The player is you. So you can improve your body, and now you got physique on point.
You can start winning at life.
You can improve your hair. Now you got hair on point. You can improve your beard. Now you got beard on point. You can find a high income skill that generates money and try and start breaking into that industry. Now before you know it, you got money on point. You go learn some game. Now you got game on point. You go learn some frame. Now you got frame on point. You improve your fashion. You got fashion on point. You got the gift of the gab on point. Now, and then you work on yourself and your self-belief and your self-love. Now you got your internal self-esteem on point. Now you approach women and it's easy. It's the same shit. So you can either make excuses for it, or you can find a way to win. Because guess what? When the guy has in the game, the video game, has built the player to the ultimate warrior, now seemingly everything is just happening for free, easily. He's fighting easily, blocking easily, the skills is happening easily. Hold on a second, my phone is ringing. Who is this?
For more girls, is it?
It is a guy.
Picking up your phone.
It is a guy. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When the process is happening easily for the player that's already been built, now it seems like he's just doing it. He's doing the backflips easily. But that was all that development that allows him to now have it easy. That AKA that was the rehearsal that allows the show to look like it's so seamless. So when you talk to a girl and you're talking to a girl and making it look easy, that is, nobody saw the rejections that happened. Nobody saw the crying about the fact that they blocked you or ghosted you back when you were first trying. Nobody sees that. Everybody sees the highlight reel. And then, see, that's the beautiful thing, the weird thing about society. We see the highlight reel and we think, I want to be like that guy. You watch Usain Bolt break the world record and you think, I want to be a sprinter. Do you know how many times that guy vomited in practice? You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
But again, if we were to see everything that it takes, Usain Bolt trained for years of his life, so we can watch him. I think I saw a lady talk about this on a video one time. She said, "Do you realize that most of us haven't seen Usain Bolt run for more than 5 minutes total? Every world record we've ever seen him break." All of those things, if we add up all of those 10-second breaks, 10-second races, 10-second, 20 seconds, we ain't seen him run more than 5 minutes total. But he trained for however many 20, 40, 20 years of his life, so we could watch him for no more than 5 minutes. That's life. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can cry about it or put the 20 years in. Choose the boy you prefer.
Wicked. I think that's a wicked way to end it as well, man. Today's podcast, man.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to try and delve into something more on this topic as well.
Let's do it.
Another time, man, and maybe we can chop it up again, man. So yeah, King.
No, I appreciate that, bro.
Thank you for minding it. Yeah.
For sure. Let's do this again, bro.
Yeah,
appreciate
bro.
it.